What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Russell the Fourth.
Hey everybody, it is me, Brandy.
And welcome to another episode of the What They Never Told Us podcast. Season something, episode some.
It's just not even effective anymore.
Season 5, episode 15.
It's just not even effective anymore.
15,
Oh, it just
16,
looks ridiculous.
17, one of them.
Sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, glad to be back. How was your day today?
It was good. I got a little power nap in and then I went right to work. So I've been busy.
See, this is usually when I ask.
Won't stop.
Usually when I ask that, I'm just asking for the sake of like pre-show jargon. But now we're fresh off of like not being around each other all day. So that's like a legitimate, like, how was your day?
What?
You know, sometimes when I ask you how was your day, I've been with you all day. It's been a Saturday, we're recording. I've been with you all day, but I asked you just for like, but this is
my day you don't know how my day is just because you with me.
Yeah, I got a good idea.
I don't think so.
I got a good idea.
Nah,
I be having a good idea.
My day is.
But my day. Thanks for asking.
You're
instead
welcome.
of complaining about my question.
You're welcome.
My day was all right.
Good.
It was a Monday for sure.
It's the fact that we already had this conversation, so we got to try to like fabricate it for the show, which makes
but
like,
when I bring it up, then see how you do it. See how
it just
do
makes it like we literally just talked about this. But
Anyway.
I'm glad that you made it through your day, roaches and all.
You don't care.
I am.
Did
I'm
you?
happy.
What'd you say?
I said roaches and all. I
So
hope
you
didn't
just
bring none home.
So you just say that and like leave it open to make people think we got roaches, and
no,
that's crazy.
No, it doesn't, because I said I hope you didn't bring none home.
So, y'all, it was a roach in my office today. Now, if y'all don't know, I work in a school. I work with students, and in my office lately, I have a coat rack. Okay, and I've opened up the coat rack for late students to, hey, just throw your coat up there,
Mm-hmm.
And today it was a roach in my office. I ain't been in my office all day. I saw that, killed it, threw every coat out on the floor in the hallway, threw a fit, and I ain't stepped foot back in the office. So, listen, sending your kids to school right now, even if you got them at home, give them a little pat down before they get out the door. Sweep them down.
Some people can't help it.
Look here. Now my skin, when you think you see a bug or something, you feel your skin crawl. That's what's happening to me right now.
Paranoid.
Anyways, so, hey, we had a fire date night. And by fire, I mean we had a lot of new experiences. Number one.
It wasn't fire. It was not fire at all.
Number one, let me tell y'all this, okay? I have a I already respected vegans and vegetarians because of the level of dedication. But now I know just how dedicated you are.
Because y'all food nasty. I'm just going to say it.
Don't do that.
I'm just
Don't do
gonna
that
say
because
it.
you've
Y'all
only
know
had
me.
one. You only went to one vegan restaurant. You're not going to generalize the whole community.
I don't beat around the bush. But
I'm sure there's some people who know how to make it taste
it's
good.
just very simplistic. And maybe it's just because we're not used
Baby,
to
you're
eating
doing that thing where you talk in real broad terms. You ate at one vegan restaurant.
Just because I've only ate at one vegan restaurant doesn't mean that vegan food
How
isn't
much
simplistic.
experience-
It's not complex. That's the whole point of it, is to remove all the frou-frou and just eat what comes from the earth.
I disagree.
Okay, well,
So
that's your prerogative.
for our mac and cheese, we have mac and cheese. When they want to make cheese, what they have to do to create the false cheese is far from simplistic. I take carrots, I cook that down right until it's a puree. Then I puree it. Then I put a little a walnut dust in it to thicken it up. The stuff you got to do for vegan food to even make it taste anywhere in the vicinity of real food.
Give me the meat and chemicals. That's just where I've landed at.
Look here, so let's back up. So we went to this spot in Lansing. Was it? Yeah, we were in Lansing. Should we say the name of the restaurant? Whatever.
It's called Veg Head.
We went to a spot called Veg Head. Looked up the reviews, man. It's like, look, let's just try them out.
But I just realized it's vegans leaving reviews.
It's vegans leaving reviews.
So it's probably not people
You can't
like
trust.
us.
You can't even trust their
I can't
opinion.
even trust their
Y'all don't
reviews.
even know what it's supposed to taste like. So the mac and cheese is so good. How do you know?
It's good for vegan mac and cheese.
So look,
Say that.
number one, so we saw this documentary on Netflix.
It's called You Are What You Eat, the
Are What
Twin
You Eat.
Studies Experiment or something like
So
that.
they take these two twins, right? If you haven't seen it, check it out. But be warned, okay? It's gonna make you want to make some life changes, okay? We saw this bug. They have two twins. They do testing before they do this experiment, and genetically, the twins are the same. They are identical twins.
So one twin gets a carnivore's diet. And
A healthy carnivore's diet,
yeah,
too.
very healthy,
Yeah.
very nutritious, but protein forward diet. And then the other one has to be vegan. And they study like sexually how it affects them, mentally how it affects them, physically, their strength, emotionally. And
Can I point out one?
Absolutely.
Genetic age. That one fascinated me
Yeah,
because
that was a good one.
you have the age that you are physically, but there's your genetic age. So when we look at your body, when we look at your organs and we test all that stuff, how old is your body?
I would definitely be older than my chronological age.
Yeah, so you could be 30 genetically, you could have the body of a 20-year-old.
Yeah, that's not gonna be me.
You could be 20 with genetically had a body of a 50-year-old.
That's gonna be more mine.
So
It's gonna add 22 to whatever mine is.
So they go throughout this experiment. It was entertaining. It was dope. Needless to say, the carnivore diet, it wasn't like it was that bad because both of them were working out. They had healthy, balanced meals, all of that. But genetically, the vegans reverse their age. And while they're doing this experiment, they're also taking you into like behind the scenes of like meat farms and what do they call those? Not meat farms. What are those chop shops? What are those called?
They had a name for them. I don't know.
Yeah, like
But it's where the places where like chickens are raised to go to
and
slaughter.
slaughtered. Yeah,
Pigs are raised to go to slaughter.
and we're not even gonna go into that.
Well,
'cause
listen,
it's nasty.
I do just a little bit because
Yeah.
I trusted this documentary because that wasn't the focus of it,
Yeah.
right? Most of the documentaries that you see, like the focus is to convince you not to eat meat
What the
anymore.
health? What the health scared the mess out of me. That's another documentary on Netflix. What the health?
Scared the health out of you, huh?
Nah, it scared it
scared it
into
back
me. I was
into
a
you.
vegan for 2 days straight. Sitting here, I'm ooh, they don't even know how to cook no vegan food. Just eating cauliflower,
Rice, cauliflower.
eating rice cakes, like suffering, just trying not to die.
Yeah, so I trusted the opinion of them in regards to like how these farms and how these animals are raised and treated because that wasn't the primary focus. Like they're just showing you what goes into like once you eat it, this is what happens to your body. This is the effect versus vegetables and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, I don't think I'm going to be eating as much meat as I did prior to learning all of these things.
Yeah.
Now, that coupled with our corporate fast that we're on, I was pretty much ready to give up everything but seafood. And I'm still a little bit there, although I did see some bomb fried chicken wings. And I was like,
can't talk about it.
maybe I could have one or two of them in the future. But the way them chickens was living,
Yeah.
baby.
But newfound respect for vegans, okay? Because y'all are in it to win it, okay?
Yeah, the level of commitment it
the
takes
level
to-
of commitment, like, and if you know the food ain't hitting, and please, if y'all listen to this and you are vegans and you like, no, I know a bomb spot you got to try, hit us up because this did not leave a good impression.
They gonna tell us the one. What's the one? The famous one in Atlanta. What's that?
I don't know.
Yes, you do.
The famous vegan. I don't
Yeah,
know
it's like
vegan.
It's like a
This is not my market. I'm not the
slutty
audience.
vegan.
Oh, okay.
Slutty vegan.
Okay. Yeah. If you don't know, we're in Michigan. If you know somewhere around us, like Lansing, Detroit, you know what I'm saying?
It looked like it had some bomb was in Chicago when I Googled it. I mean, the food
For
looked
sure. It's a little
very
closer.
similar to what we eat. And I think it would have been a more palatable.
This is what vegan needs. This is what the vegan community needs right here. And this is from a meat eater, a true carnivore, okay? Y'all need your own dishes. Y'all need to stop making things to be close to things that we ate beforehand. You need just new dishes, something that's only vegan. Like when I go eat Mediterranean, I'm eating a dish that's only Mediterranean. Yes, it might have some of this. Y'all need your own stuff. But when you tell me this is wings, I'm automatically going into it expecting wings.
Yeah, we had some cauliflower wings at the restaurant, which was literally breaded cauliflower with a sauce on the side.
Just call it fried cauliflower. Like, don't do that when you making it wings. Because now I'm going into it, holding it to the standard that I hold a good fried chicken wing. And that's just not that.
And part of I don't know, the ambiance, I guess, of fried chicken. To me, it's just a little bit of grease. Like I like squeezing it. That cauliflower had no grease in it.
It wasn't greasy, but those were fried. Those weren't like air fried cauliflower.
I don't know. I'm gonna call them and see how they made that cauliflower.
Yeah, let me see something. But hey, shout out to the vegans. You are what commitment looks like, and we respect it over here. Shout out to y'all. But
me.
We still are trying our hand right now tonight. We're
having lion's mane mushrooms.
Look at us, y'all.
But we're making it like a pan-seared chicken thigh.
So. Everything. So I'm going into it like I hope this tastes like chicken.
Not me. I'm telling myself I know it's a mushroom. It's not gonna taste like chicken, but maybe it'll give me a little meaty,
little something.
The only thing I'm finding that I just can't get past is like everything is one texture. If I'm eating raw vegetables, they're all just crunchy, one note. I need some variety. If I cook them, everything's mushy. Like I just need, like if I'm eating chicken, I have the chew of the chicken, but then I have the smoothness of the mashed potatoes. Then I have the creaminess of the gravy, and then maybe if I have a little corn on the side, I got a little.
Oh, you're a foodie.
Like it's a variety.
That
like I
was
need
like Ratatouille when he was talking. You ever seen that movie Ratatouille?
No.
Hey, the way Dog was explaining like the crunch of the grapes and the velvety of the cheese. Like what you just went into was like.
I need my plate to be well rounded in flavor and texture. So if
That's
I'm
wild.
just eating something that's one note, it just
did you call texture notes?
Yes, one note. It just gets very blah to me. So I can only eat like a couple bites and then I'm like, okay, next.
If there's someone here who's got a Food Network connection, hook my baby up because y'all see what she giving up right now. Like that was legit. So there was that. Then we went to the movies.
Yes.
And we checked out Book of Clarence. Okay. Now we're giving, because there's a lot of people I see talking about it.
Don't give it away. No spoilers.
No spoilers. So it's safe for you to keep listening. But a lot of the people I see putting their like 2 cents in on it are people who aren't necessarily Christians. So like for the people who like, man, I don't play about my Jesus. They be like, I don't know if I want to go see this because I ain't gonna let nobody play in my Savior face and I pay money for a ticket. So
we went and saw it for you, for those people that are like that.
We went and saw it, okay? And I will say this, no spoilers once again, but I will say this. Do not go in expecting a theologically sound history lesson and drama about the birth, death, and burial of Jesus Christ. Like, that's not what this is. It's not the Passion of the Christ.
No, not at all. It's a very satirical rendition of someone who had proximity, well, not in real life, but had proximity to Jesus.
A fictional story.
Yes, very fictional. It's funny. They inserted specific things that made you not take it serious. Like, because there might be, maybe say one scene where it's like, oh man, that was really powerful. But then right after that, there's something funny instituted. So you know, okay, this is not meant to be a biblical history lesson here. This is a movie and it is made for the purposes of entertainment. I don't think there was anything in there that made me get in my Christian bag like, oh my God, this is blasphemous.
That's what I say. Yeah, there's nothing in there that rung to us like this is disrespectful to our faith or nothing like that. It has some feel good moments. It's not a Christian movie.
No.
It's not a Christian movie, so you ain't taking your kids to see it. There was some profanity, stuff like that, but it's nothing too crazy.
Did they curse? I don't think they cursed in it, but it's still not for kids.
Yeah, like they was smoking weed.
Yeah, it's not for kids.
They smoking weed. Like,
I'm just noticing that I don't think.
I think I heard
did.
some cussing.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not 100%. If there was, it was very minute. It wasn't over the top. But once again, it's not a Christian movie. Now, I will say this: there were a lot of people in biblical days who were impersonating and claiming to be the Messiah. So it is a fictional story about someone who was claiming to be the Messiah. And there was stories and notes of redemption and stuff in there. So it's a feel-good movie. And some things that even on my little Christian heart was tugging on me a little bit like, oh, that moved me. So I would definitely say if you're interested in seeing it, it's safe. Go for it. Don't go in expecting to go there and leave with sermon notes and stuff like that, because that's not what it is. But good movie nonetheless. You would say?
I would say it was a decent movie.
If you had to rate it 1 to 10, what would you give it?
I'm gonna give it 6 tomatoes. Like, you remember Rotten Tomatoes? That's still a thing.
Rotten Tomatoes is still a thing. I don't know if they still voting on there, but Rotten Tomatoes is still a thing.
Yeah, I would give it 6 tomatoes.
That's good. That's a sound score. I'd give it the same. What's a 10? Is there any movie that you've had that like this is a
I
perfect
have
movie?
such a bias, so I don't think I should answer that question.
Forrest Gump?
Yes.
How's that a bias?
Because it's just like my favorite movie. So anytime you say
Well, it's your favorite because it's a really good movie.
wasn't the answer is Forrest Gump. Just there. If it's
Forrest
a
Gump
movie,
is
the
a
answer
really
is
good
Forrest
movie.
Gump.
Forrest Gump is a really good movie.
It's just so complex. Like I don't want to go. I don't want to take too much time. But the nuances,
We're here for an hour. Come on.
the nuances that went into making that movie, like the complexity of being a person with disabilities living in a time where the world didn't know a lot about disabilities, the black and white dynamic that went on in there, the conflict of the Vietnam War. I mean, it was just love, loss. It was just.
This is for me what I love about Forrest Gump. It's the amalgamation of I think this is similar to what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's drama. It's comedy.
Everything you need
It's
in one movie.
political. It's history. Because even though it's a great fictional story, it's woven into real life things that happen. And on top of that, romance. Like, it's just so many different things that hit you at the same time. Great acting.
And for the time that it was in, the special effects were just freaking amazing.
Yeah, for him to be like in actual footage and you got
With
Tom
Richard
Hanks in
Nixon. Like,
fire. I preach
such a great
I
movie.
preach sermons based on Forrest Gump characters.
And listen, people are still talking about A Life with No Legs.
Lieutenant Dan. I preach Lieutenant Dan. And I stand by that. One of my favorite sermons, like legitimately, yeah. Come on. Forrest Gump, 10 tomatoes for me.
10 out of 10.
Do you
And,
get,
like, it's
is that the scale 1 to 10 tomatoes? Like
I don't know.
I don't know.
I made that up.
10
I know
tomatoes
they give
from
it
what they never
tomatoes,
told us about. 10 tomatoes for about.
I think it was actually backwards. Isn't it like if it's Rotten Tomatoes, then the most tomato?
I've seen in percents. It's like 60% tomatoes.
Yeah, I don't know. But
I don't know. Good movie.
It's a great movie. It's a classic movie, and I'm gonna stick beside it.
I haven't heard anyone say anything negative about Forrest Gump.
You can't.
I bet you there's someone who tries to find it. Everybody got their cup of tea. But I would say if you don't like Forrest Gump, something wrong with you.
The only thing you can say is that it's a long movie. That's the only thing.
But when you don't know it's long, that's when you know you had a good movie.
Enthralled in it. Okay,
Yeah.
we got to move on. I have a question for you. Because I feel like somebody is watching
20
this,
minutes
like,
into the
if they
pod.
don't stop talking about Forrest Gump.
That's really what they come for. They be like, I guess.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, 20 minutes in. What's up? You got a question for me?
I do. Why you going to take a sip of coffee when I got a question for you?
Because you talking.
But are you going to have to answer? Put it down.
All times I'm saying.
What's the best piece of relationship advice you've ever received?
Best piece of relationship advice I've ever
I
received.
gave you time to think about it before
Here's
we
what I
even
think.
cut the camera on, and you still don't
Here's
know.
what I think. The best advice I've ever gotten did not come through words. It did not come through someone trying to sound deep to me and tell me nuggets of wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
It was the real life example I had growing up and being discipled by my first pastor, Pastor James L. Hines of the Lily Missionary Baptist Church. I was thinking about this today, and there's a lot of people who have like church horror stories and just being under like terrible leaders. And while I can say like there's no perfect man, I don't care what position they hold in the church, but one thing I know God strategically placed me under his care for it was so I can see how he does family. And I had a chance to just go with him. And even when I was a little boy, he'll just, hey, little Russell, ride with me to the bank. And I'd ride to the bank, and hearing him talk to his wife, hearing him in everything he does, consider his wife, how he references her. I don't care how, he always finds a way to talk about this woman.
I agree. And I don't even know him like you know him, but I always hear about Leontine.
He felt, I know their story like Forrest Gump. Like, that's how I see that story in my mind. Fell in love with her at a young age. His mom rode the school bus. They were next door neighbors. They lived across the street from each other. He used to have his mom go pick up everybody else. Now the bus be at the house. Little town in Ben Harbor. She would go pick up everybody else and go get her last. So there would only be one spot left for her to sit, which would be by him in the front of the bus.
That is very mimicking of Forrest Gump. You remember when he got on the bus for the first time and everybody's like, can't sit here, can't sit here. And then Jenny was like, you can sit here if you want.
She had no choice. Fell in love with her in elementary school and only loved this woman for the rest of his life. He tells me a story where he walked from Central Michigan University to Michigan State University on foot.
I don't believe that. No, nobody. It's
listen
not
to me.
a lot of people who know how far that is, but it's really far. It's like a 2-hour drive. So I do not believe this man walked from Grand Rapids to Lansing. I don't believe
not
Mount Pleasant.
It's Mount Pleasant.
Yes.
To Grand, and that's more than 2 hours.
So I don't.
But there are people I've tried because if you don't know Pastor James L. Hines, but I'm gonna tell you this: these stories be so far fetched, and you don't know where the embellishment is. You got to find it like, where's Waldo? But there are people who I fact check for this, and they swear by it. They say he would walk and hitchhike, so he, But they're like, I don't know how he got there. Ain't nobody giving him no ride from Mount Pleasant to Michigan State to go see your girl. And this man started, before they were even married, before she even really committed to like being his girlfriend really good, started a savings account, forged her signature so that their name were both in the account. She could access the money. She didn't even know it, but he was planning for his future with her before she even decided if he was it for her. Started saving money. And just being around somebody who is that in love with someone and seeing what that looks like, not what it sounds like. Because while he was crazy about it and talked about it all the time, I've seen him rebuke women who just got a little bit too happy, who touched a little bit too much. We was in Florida, Orlando, Florida. He took me there for this conference. You asked me, I'm here.
I just want to know the advice.
It's no advice. It's just, I know what it looks like to love a woman. I know what that looks like. And it's so multifaceted and multi-layered. You couldn't sum it up in just one sentence, but I know what that looks like. I know what that example is because I see what it looks like, and I have these things in my mind that I reference back to. Even when I start feeling myself finding it difficult or find myself angry or frustrated, I think about seeing him selfless. I see him what it looks like when he has a legitimate reason to be upset about the way something was said to him and how he holds his tongue. Or how he would never open disrespect, or what it looks like when you're tempted and to be like, don't touch me like that. I'm a married, get away from me. I've seen him shoo a woman away. In Orlando, Florida, this woman was just kept like, just touching him. And he said, all right, daughter, like, you're touching a little too much. I'm a married man. And she said, you did it? He said, and when she like gave him something back, now I'm gonna tell you like this. But he don't play about his wife, and I know what that looks like. So I can't sum it up in advice, but I will say this. I see what it looks like when you're intentionally loving somebody and when your life as a husband is in service to the people who you call your family. I know what that looks like, and it's my reference point. So I'm sorry, I don't have like a advice thing, but that's my first thing that came to my mind.
That's funny. I don't have a long drawn out story about a pillar of faith in my
You don't have to talk about my story at all. You can just do your thing. You don't have to do all of that at all. So carrying on.
No, but
it was this that really made me mad about pillar of faith. Why are you swinging arms like that?
No, it was beautiful. I actually really like that answer. And I think that for not for nothing, it's a lot of what we aim to do for others. It's like just show that it's real, but that it's possible, right? You don't have like all the marriages and relationships that I had a close up eye on were very contentious, but they had somewhat of a stick to itiveness, right? It was like, we gonna stay together come hell or high water, but what?
I just thought about my own. I really respect those couples, but man, I'm tired of them.
It's like,
you're suffering.
Yeah.
You're not happy.
And I literally always looked at marriage like that's not something I want to do. I don't want to be miserable for the rest of my life. And so I love that you had that. But the best piece of relationship advice that I got was literally one word. Like somebody looked at me, person that I used to work with, very, very pivotal and just like helping me see things from a different perspective because she was older than me. She's not my same race. Like literally gave me a different perspective that I completely would never even seen and never had the ability to see. Right. And she just said selfless. And I was like, well, duh, we all should aim to be selfless. And she's like, nah, I don't mean like that. She's like, literally less of yourself. Everything that you do in your relationship should be less of you. Like everything that you do you should aim to think, how does that serve that person more than it serves you? And it's just been me for a very long time, me being a single mom, me trying to make it happen. So a lot of my decision making, a lot of my just purview on life was, how do I, whatever, fill in the blank? And I think that that's something that I really try to keep in the forefront of my mind is like, yeah, I'm in this relationship with you, but if I serve you well, it only benefits me. So I try to take myself out of most of the things that involve us and just see like, okay, how would he be affected? How would this make him feel? How would he receive this piece of information? And I think it's helped. I really do.
That's good advice. That's really good advice.
She's wise beyond her years.
Yeah, that's rich because like, I think it's natural for us to be so in tune with our experience.
Absolutely.
Do you remember? I have this profound thought. It's not even profound.
Right now?
Thought. No. Oh. I remember when I realized that the world didn't revolve around me.
Do you remember the exact moment?
I remember thinking that. Like, my thought was, and I was a kid, that how I feel about me or how my whole world revolves around me being the main character in it, everybody has the same experience with themselves. Like everyone, like I remember as a kid having the thought of, in my world, it's about me. Yeah. But I remember thinking, but to everybody's world, it's about them. Mm-hmm. Like this same experience I'm having with me, everyone's having with themselves. And I remember like being deep in thought in my room. I knew I was a kid because we were still in Ann Arbor. And that was a really long time ago. So I remember that moment when I realized that. But it's so crazy to me that it's not even crazy. That pre-thought before I realized that, mm-hmm. that drive to fulfill my personal desires, to keep me comfortable, to keep me happy, to keep me enjoying my life experience is what drives most of our selfish desire. Mm-hmm. And if you don't come to the realization that your spouse's world doesn't always revolve around you.
Preach.
But how dope of a marriage will it be if y'all both come to the table with, I'm going to beat you at loving me today. Like, I'm going to love you so good. Not that it's a competition, but I'm just saying, like, what if we're both invested in doing for the other? So I don't have to be overly concerned about what I need because you're concerned about my needs. Mm-hmm. And you don't got to be overly concerned about what I need because I'm overly concerned about meeting your needs. If that can truly be achieved, we out here. Like, we out here. Right? Like, we out here, ain't we? Like, it's a dope situation. But once again, easier said than done.
Absolutely.
Like, dying to yourself is difficult when there are far more consequential things at stake.
Yeah, I mean, every day that I wake up, the first thing on my mind is not how do I please Russell today, if I'm being very honest with you. I think that it's the conscious act to realize that, yeah, there are 50,000 things happening in my day, but I want to prioritize this person. And I think when you do that, the moments when you can't aren't as impactful because you filled up the love tank of like service. So if there is a time where I am stupid busy and can't stop to hug, kiss, or whatever, I would hope that the history of that will far outweigh the deficit that you feel in the moment.
Yeah.
And so I I think about that advice a lot of times. Like, I'm very introspective, so I'm always trying to like problem solve in my head before I ever bring it to you. So I think about like, are there moments in this day, in this week, in this month where I wasn't doing well in my job of just like being in service to you? And I can always pinpoint moments where I can say for myself, like, yeah, that was a failure. You should have stopped. You should have done X, Y, and Z. And I think it's very timely that we're having this conversation, just because we also posted the clip recently of, I don't want to do all that just to get a hug. Dang, when I talk about that I'm a task-oriented person and I love to get what I'm doing done, and then we can have that time. And I just think about in those moments, like when I made that statement, I wasn't thinking of what you need from me in your moments of need or deficit. And that's something that I want to be able to do better, is like weighing how important is this thing that I'm doing? How important is it that you need me, and which one wins this time? And I always want to choose you.
Is that the hardest area for you? Like, in terms of like service, what would you say requires the most effort on your end? Like, what doesn't come as like natural?
I don't think it's the hardest part for me, just because I think one of my highest love languages is acts of service. Like, I love to just take care of people. Like, I've done it for so long that it's just become a part of who I am. But the hardest part of it is when I'm in deficit myself and still trying to push through. And it may not be in deficit because you're not holding up your piece, but we're complex people and we have a lot going on. And if I don't feel the best about myself, I think it's really hard to pour into and love someone else. And it's being able to accurately express like, hey, this is where I'm at. I have trouble saying that I'm not 100% right now. And saying I'm not 100% right now oftentimes makes me feel like I'm not doing a good job. And I don't ever want to feel like I'm not doing a good job at being a mom, at being a wife, at being a friend, at, whatever. So trying to push through that when you just don't feel it, that's the difficult part for me.
That's the undercurrent for like people who are passionate about serving others.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, for every wave of momentum towards where you want to go, there's that other returning current that's pulling you further out to where you don't want to go, right? So, like, when you're mad passionate about serving people, it's easy for you to get lost in the shuffle of who needs to get taken care of. And it don't matter how much people serve you, there's a void that's always going to be filled because there's some things only you can do for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think people who, I don't know personally how people whose love language or just general nature is acts of service, I don't know how they manage to balance that without a relationship with God. Like, I can have 15 people pouring into me as much as I pour out, but it's something that he provides that just is like a sustaining power. It's something that no matter how low that I drop, I'll never get low enough where I don't want to do that or don't desire to do that. And I think that's where you see a lot of people who get burnt out, is that they just don't have that, I'm gonna say, faith foundation where no matter what somebody else is giving to you, you still have a firm foundation rooted in something else that is always giving to you.
Yeah.
And I do recognize that it is very, very easy to get burnt out when you're the one that everybody goes to. You're the one that's serving everybody. But I just believe that my faith is what allows me to keep going even when I don't necessarily feel like it. But anybody who is in a relationship with God knows that there's always a fight between your faith and your flesh. And in my flesh, sometimes I'd be like, look, I don't want to do nothing for none of y'all. I think that's when you get the moments of like, I'm going to go get a hotel room because I've been doing. And
you always say that, but you've never actually told me he's going to hotel room.
Listen, I was plotting on you though, because I was supposed to go to Detroit for work, and it's supposed to be this like crazy snowstorm. And I was like, well, maybe I should go and then just tell him that the roads is too bad to drive back, because he ain't really been on board with this, get a hotel room. But if I tell him I'm scared to drive back, then I can get a hotel room. But it's in Wyandotte, and if it was in downtown Detroit, I might have did it. But because it's in Wyandotte, I was like, man, I'm be stuck out there. I ain't gonna have nothing to do.
Nah, I hope it do still. Stuck in Wyandotte, aren't you? Sucks to be you.
But yeah. I think that's where those moments come from, where it's just like, I'm in a fight with my faith and my flesh. I feel empty and my flesh is winning right now, and I just need to get away.
Yeah, I really empathize with givers, because it's such a gift to. Because if you know people who are really wired like that, it's different with the person who doesn't mind doing it. And it's different with the person who, does it in spite of them not really being their thing. Like, that's me. Like, financially, I don't mind giving. If I got it and you need it, I don't mind giving it. But there's a certain mindful quality that is a gift from God. Like, it takes a special person to be like, hey, I remember this is the day your brother passed away. I just wanted to check on you, see how you doing. Like, that's different. Like, if I think of it, oh man, hey, how you doing? If I might get sidetracked, oh dang man, I forgot to.
I was about to say, be honest, because you would think about it and then move on to 50 other things.
I'm being honest.
I'm like, babe, did you? You know what? I did not.
Dang nabbit, I forgot. But it's a gift to, like, for it to be so set in your heart, the needs of somebody else, that you almost feel bad if you don't meet the need.
Yeah.
And I empathize with those people, because people who are true givers, they attract takers.
Oh, for sure.
They attract the people who are drawn to people who are like, I'll just give and give and give. And the people who really have that gift, it's rare you find people who can do it on that level. Consistently.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's a gift. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care how much you like music. If I can't sing, I can't sing. That's a gift. You can go to many voice lessons as you want to. If you can't, you can't. You know what I'm saying? That's a skill set. And I really feel like that, like the same way for giving. I'll never forget how moved you were. You have a friend, I ain't gonna call out her name because I don't like putting people's name out there, but you have a friend who has that same gift as you. And I see why it blesses you so much, because you're equally yoked in that area. Absolutely. So I'll see her do something like, you'll mention, oh man, I always wanted an Apple Watch. Oh, for her to remember that, and weeks later be like, oh, I don't use this one anymore. Here, you got this for me.
I'm literally about to cry thinking about it. Like,
but it's so dope. Like, hey, I made this. I know you like this soup. I made this soup. Here, I brought you what I left for. Like,
because for a person that is a giver, I think you never expect nobody to match your level of like sincerity, right?
Yeah.
Because to me, it's not even about what you give me. It's about the sincerity of your heart.
Yeah.
Like, I do things for you because deeply in my heart, I want to see you happy. I want to please you. I care about
it's
your
a part of you that's literally fulfilled by doing for others.
I care about your well-being. So to think that, I think when you have that mindset, you never expect to get it in return.
Yeah.
Just because, and mostly it's because you've been failed in that area for a very long time or by significant people in your life. So you're like, if mama and daddy ain't giving into me at this level, there's no way that a stranger is going to do that, or just a friend is going to do that. So it's a surprise when somebody's like, you know what? And it's not like, like you said, tomato soup. It don't have to be the Apple Watch. The Apple Watch was bomb, and I was so thankful.
It don't even have to be all of that.
But it's just like, number one, I like to eat, and I love this tomato soup that nobody in your family really eats, but you just make it because the people around you
it's just like
to eat it.
I intentionally thought about you. Yeah. And the people who have that gift, the enemy will strategically try to attack it.
Oh, 100%.
Like, you'll find the people who have that gift also have some of the most heartbreaking stories of someone who was supposed to be there. Not even that they had to, but it was like a key figure.
This is your job.
Like, this ain't even like, hey, I thought of you. It's like, no, this is your job. Whether you thought about it or not, this is your position in my life. Where are you at?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it's so dope that how God will like, what's the word I'm talking about? Where he like, not replaces, but you know what I'm saying? How he will literally send you people to make up for the ones that failed. So even like, hey, look, I see what you sown.
It's people that stand in the gap.
And I'm going to send people who will help you reap what you sown.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think it was Sarah Jakes Roberts, and I was just recently watching one of her sermons, but she said that basically the same thing that you're saying, like your area of gifting, your area of purpose is something that the enemy attacks very early on. Like you feel this thing inside of you, like, oh, I could be really great in this area. I could make an impact in this area. I mean, from a very little age, you may not know what it is, but you just feel something different in you. And that is the area before you're able to fully understand what that thing is, that the enemy will start to attack you in so that that thing never fully develops. And I can say that 110% that I always have had a desire to be in service to people, but I've had that be abused, or I think there is a certain level too of people who are givers that want an acknowledgement that you did that for them. And when you don't get that, it is very damaging because you don't know how to receive that. And it feels like unappreciation, or it feels like rejection of the thing that you're trying to give to show your love to somebody. And when you're not able to fully understand, like, that's not exactly what that is just because they didn't acknowledge it, it starts to taint that spirit in you that wants to give. But now it's like, I ain't doing nothing for nobody. They don't appreciate me. They don't ever give back to me, you know?
Yeah. But the truth of the matter is the reason why giving for you is so significant and it fulfills you so much is because that's like, for most people, that was the area you were crushed. You know what I mean? Like if you're not familiar with like the church world or like biblical terms, like your anointing or the thing that you do on a supernatural level, this thing that like you're enabled by God to do on a higher level than most people, we call that the anointing, right? And that's like your oil. But you get oil from something from like crushing it. So a lot of time your area where you got oil is the area you were crushed at. And so for the people who are givers, most of the time, giving is so significant for them because they know what it's like for someone not to intentionally love them, not to intentionally give to them, where they were like, hey, I'm in a position where I really need this, but they didn't get it. So they know what it means to be there for somebody. Now you'll take someone who's had every amenity, every silver spoon and everything laid out for them they might not know what it means to do that because it's always been readily available. It's always been there. But you take somebody who's been crushing the area, they know what it is to be there for somebody. They know what it is. So it's like, it's this quote by this dude named Wayne Dyer. And he said, when you see things differently, you'll see things change. Oh, no. I messed that quote up. No. When you change the way you see things, the things you see change. And what he means by that is like when your perspective shifts, you'll start to understand and appreciate things just differently, right? When you look back on the thing that like really almost broke you, when you look at it with a new perspective, you can see how God like used it and what his plan was with it the whole time, because your gift most of the time is birthed out of like some stuff that wasn't so fun. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I don't think like if in the natural sense of what we talk about being a giver, I think we always think about like possession or something materialistic that somebody gave to you. And as a kid, I had everything I could want to ask for. Like if my mom didn't get it for me, my grandparents were like right there, Johnny on the spot, would give me anything that I wanted. And I knew as a child that I was what people call spoiled, right? Like everybody would be like, oh, she's so spoiled, all my cousins and everything. And I knew it too. Like, yeah, I'm spoiled. But I don't think that I realized just how much you cannot replace the core things that you need in life with materialistic things.
Oh, yeah.
Like somebody being there for you, somebody to cheer you on, the support. And although my mom and my grandparents were so good at making sure that my material needs were met and I had a home that was full with love.
Some things can't be replaced.
There's just things that cannot be replaced.
Yeah.
And I can look back and be like, there are significant periods of time in my life where I just wanted somebody to be there to hug me and be like, you know what, that sucks that you feel that way, or that sucks that somebody did that to you. And so I think that's more of my area of gifting. Like, I am the ear for people. I am that person that's like, I'm not going to ask you anything intrusive about your life. I'm just going to create a space where you can share. And if you choose to share, I'm just there to listen and support back into you. And I think I took that not for granted, but I didn't appreciate that about myself until very recently. I think that I would get the thought and the inclination to like, you should call and check on X, Y, and Z, and just wouldn't do it. And then I'd hear a story associated with them, that person going through something right at that time frame where I got the nudging to like reach out to them. It wasn't until I started to listen to those things like, same as this relationship, like selfless, in every relationship that I have, like less of me. I might not feel like they're going to receive what I want to say, or maybe I feel like they don't want to be bothered, so I'll talk myself out of reaching out to them. But like, it's not about me. I don't care if it makes me feel insecure to extend myself to somebody. And I posted something on Facebook about this. Like, I realized that I'll always be a better friend to some people than they are to me, and I'm okay with that.
You have to be.
That came with the realization that like, my relationships are not always about what you can give to me. Some of my relationships are truly about what I can give to you. And I'm okay with that.
You have to be. Like, it would be a perfect world if every relationship was an even give and take of what I pour into you, you can equally pour back into me. But that's unrealistic.
But you don't know how many people were in them comments like, couldn't be me. Nah, I'm matching energy. I'm giving people what they give me. And I'm like, that's such a miserable way to live.
That's people who are hurt. Like, there's some, like, I don't care how well you raise your child and how much you enjoy being a parent. That is a relationship that's supposed to be unequally yoked in terms of what you pour into.
Absolutely.
You're the parent.
I don't even want my kids to get
your
back
job
to me
to pour
what I
into.
gave them.
Yeah, like, they're not your emotional support.
Yeah.
You're theirs. It's dope if they can provide that on some level, but you should far outweigh them as being the more you're supposed to be the more emotionally mature. You're supposed to be the one leading, guiding them. You're the one providing for them. That's not. You're supposed to pour into them on a far greater level than, you know what I'm saying, they pour into you. There's some friendships, not even friendships, assignments.
Absolutely.
Literally assignments. People who God brought into your life for the sole purpose of you making a deposit, planting a seed. That's not based on what they do for you.
Absolutely not. And if you look for that, you'll miss the opportunity to really enrich somebody's life.
Yeah.
And I mean, literally in this season, that is what God has been showing me. And I almost like wanted to take it back when I put it out there on Facebook, like, dang, am I looking at that the wrong way? But the Holy Spirit had to check me, like, nah, your heart is in the right place if you can love somebody and they don't love you back.
Man, it's the way I think God will shape perspectives, and when you start looking at things the way God looks at them, you'll start understanding how the more you adopt that idea and try to explain it, it's so opposite of what comes natural to what our flesh pulls us to do.
Yeah.
You start talking language like turn the other cheek, and it's like, hey, yo, what?
I still got a little bit of Peter in me. I ain't reached that level of godliness where I'm willing to turn the other cheek if somebody smack me. I'm still working on that. But
I mean,
get what you're saying.
But my thing is, like, even if that's your flesh, don't deny what's godly and what's not godly.
Oh, 100%.
And that's what bothers me about people, because that's what doesn't come natural to them. they'll just throw out the principle altogether.
100%.
Like, that ain't me. Hey, I'm like, you
Duck
hit
if
me.
you buck. I grew up in the 2000s.
And that's cool. That's cool. But don't celebrate that like that is
The right thing.
admirable or like the way you should be. No, I feel you. And I understand. I'm with you. But let's not celebrate that and act like that's how God rocks. No. What did he say? Because that's what we supposed to be living our life like. And if that's what he say is the goal, I'm not celebrating doing the opposite. I can empathize because like, hey, you know what I'm saying? But it's like that nudge and pull to live fully in your flesh and not walk in the spirit and growing your spirit, man. And the more you start talking that language like that, the more you'll see how everybody like, hey, yo. And I feel like I bump up against that all the time. Like there's so many conversations I have, and in my mind, I'm thinking I'm saying something that's like wise
And helpful.
They're like, nah, that's stupid,
Yeah.
fam.
Yeah. I mean, literally,
Yeah.
comment after comment, I was like, hold on. I literally had to check myself. Like, was I right about like, dude? And not that I expect everybody else to understand that, but I think when I put it out there, I expected people to be like, oh, that, you know, dang, I wish I could look at it like that or something.
Yeah.
But people were literally closed off to it. And not that I don't get it, because I do.
Yeah.
Because God had to bring me from a mighty long way to be like this. But like you said, I think that thing was always in me. And now it just has the opportunity to present itself in a way that it never could before, because I was dealing with so much hurt, so much disappointment, that it clouded my judgment on how I can use my gifting to impact those around me.
Yeah. Matching energies is the quickest way for you to abandon impact.
Yeah, and plus some people is filled with a lot of negative, dirty, evil energy, and I don't want to match that.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, here's a situation where I see somebody who I truly value and I enjoy being in their presence, right? Now, we live in an imperfect world with imperfect people. I don't care how much you love them. I don't care how dope they were in the beginning. They going to have a bad day. They're not always going to be operating at 100%. Some days they might have a trigger from past trauma. Some days you might say something that puts them in a bad space. And when you settle into the mindset of matching their energy, you rob yourself of the experience of impacting people in a positive way.
Absolutely.
Why would I want to settle for whatever tone you set?
Nah.
Because you sad, I'm sad. Because you got an attitude, now I'm going to have an attitude? No, I want to enjoy my night. So, but I don't think people understand the impact. Like, your presence is for not everybody. But there are some people who literally can shift a room.
Absolutely.
And
good and bad. So it is everybody, because your energy can sway a room one way or the other when you have that gifting.
I learned this. I worked a job, and I know this was so strategic why God placed me here. But I worked in a job where for 4 months up to a year, I had teenage boys. Now, first of all, teenagers are the most moody, hormonal, difficult group to work with. But you take the worst behaviors in the state of Michigan. The juvenile say, we don't know what else to do. So they send them to a residential placement, is what we call them, for 4 months up to a year, away from family, away from friends. And we say, we hope you can make an impact in their life so we can stop the cycle of going in and out of the juvenile, hoping that they make a change. We need something a little bit more intense. Every day, I'm walking into this house at 3:00 with kids stripped away from their families, kids who have tons of trauma, kids who sometimes before I came in got into an argument, got disrespected by another. Like, they have every reason in the world. They have every reason in the world to be mad at the world. And when I come in every day, I have to try to shift that room. Hey, what's going on, fam? Bro, Mrs. Such and Such said I can't have my snack, blah, 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 blah. Man, I'm trying to call my mama, bro. They won't let me get my phone call. And every day, I got to come in and shift that room. But I discovered, like, if I come in there and it's like, man, I got to come back to this job another day. Man, these kids, man, they da, 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 da. If I come in with that, my day is shot. But if I come in every day And all 12, 13 of these boys, I pull into my world. I make them smile. I make them laugh. I don't focus on their problem, but I focus on solutions. I pour into them. Then I create the experience I want. Then the next shift I have, we having fun. We playing spades. We watching movies. It's a great day.
Yeah.
But that same impact can happen even more so when it was with people who love you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the same like in relationships. And I hate to bring this up because I know it was such a strong point of contention, but essentially that's what I was getting at that day that you had a bad day at work and you didn't necessarily feel supported by me saying, hey, take your time, go away, and then come back. Because I recognize that you do drive a lot of the energy in the house. Like I say it all the time. I'm a naturally like stoic, very even keeled person. I show my love in a different way. The way that you impact this household is something that can't be replaced. Even if I'm like, okay, he having a bad day, I'm going to try to be the Russell today. I just don't have that gifting. You have an atmospheric shifting energy, anointing, whatever you want to call it, on you. And I recognize that when you don't have a bad day, this house is more quiet. It's more everybody to themselves. Like, but when you are in, you're just naturally flowing in who you are. You know, we joking, we wrestling, we having fun. So I think that's what I meant, because that same I'm gonna match this energy is the same thing that people have in their relationships. Wife been having a bad day for a long time, and now instead of you trying to help her come out of that and shift that, it's now like, nah, I'm just matching her energy. She ain't giving me nothing, so I ain't giving her nothing. Or wife is like, shoot, he been out with his boys and he ain't paying no attention to me, so I ain't paying no attention to him no more. And like that is detrimental to not only just like your marriage, but like your state of being as a person. You can't, especially when you're meant to be an atmosphere shifter.
Yeah, you can't do any relationship like that. You got a friend and they not talking to you as much, they not calling as much. In your mind, they acting funny. So you matching their energy, but you don't know they depressed.
Yeah.
You don't know they going through something. So instead of saying, hey, are you good? Hey, come on, let's go get some. Instead of like trying your best to pull them out, and not pull them out, but just reach the out. Ministry of presence, just being there. But to say that for me to be in your presence, you got to make me feel good, goes against the real nature of what relationship is supposed to be. It's the word you said right from the beginning, selflessness.
Absolutely.
It's like, I can only deal with you if you make me feel good. Now, I'm not saying
a lot of us would be real lonely if that was really the case.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you should endure abuse. Like, I'm not talking about the opposite end where being around somebody is harmful. I'm just talking about somebody not all the time being at their best, and you still having a posture of, if you part of my circle, if I say I love you, that comes with a certain mindset that you don't get to stay down.
Yeah.
Like if you depressed, I feel you. At minimum, I'm gonna be there with you.
Like it befuddles me. I like that word that your dad gave me, befuddle. It befuddles me.
I never been more irritated in my life. Ever in my life until this moment right here. This is the highest epitome of pissophony that I've ever experienced.
I love it.
Right here.
I love it. Your dad, he be having some gems.
And it was the reference to him that really made
because I gotta give him credit.
I like that way your dad gave me befuddle.
Your dad gave me that word. But anyways, how many people in this day and age are trying to be influencers, right? We recognize that we have a powerful impact on people, and then if somebody will pay us, we'll use that influence to influence everybody in the world. But the people the closest up on you, you won't be an influencer in their life. You won't influence them to do better. You won't influence them to love better. You won't influence them to get off drugs. You won't influence them to be a better parent. But you want to influence the world. Like, I really just don't understand that.
That's a bar. Be an influencer in your home first. Everybody want followers. Lead your home first. Everybody want to grow and be popular. Be popular with the people you love first. Like, serve the people right next to you. like as much energy as we give looking like something on social media, actually be that to the people who you claim you love.
It's really the epitome of that scripture. Like, you can tell a tree by its fruit, right? Because can't tell you, and everybody knows, like you get on social media and you see these big influencers or celebrities or whoever they are, but they got a torturous relationship with their parents.
Yeah.
Their kids don't speak to them. Like, I don't want to follow anybody where your fruit, the people the closest up on you, are struggling, are in despair, are angry at you for whatever reason, and you're not doing anything to nurture that relationship or make that relationship better, but you want to sell me a product, you want to tell me how to live my life, you want to tell me what I should read and what I should do to be a better person, when like the people closest up to you aren't better people because you in their life. I don't want to follow that.
Nah. I was, during my study time this morning, I got brought to James 3:11, and it was this thought process of, it's the scripture says, can both fresh water and salt water flow from the same spring? Can a fig tree bear olives? Can a grapevine bear figs? Neither can salt spring produce fresh water.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what you say you are, be that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's certain things that can't, like, regardless of what atmosphere you're in, a grapevine is never going to produce olives.
Never.
I don't care what's going on in the atmosphere. A salt body of water is never going to produce fresh water.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're be a great regardless of what atmosphere you're in. If you're naturally a joyful, if you're a light, if you are salt to flavorless situations, don't switch up when the person who needs you most in this moment stops being able to produce that.
Mm-hmm.
If I, like that day, like we say, hindsight is 20/20.
Absolutely.
Right? So the fact that, because I wasn't my best in that moment, you recognize that, and like, you know what I'm saying, you appreciated the fact of what I contribute. I can respect that. But you've always been that for me. Like, you this is the first relationship where I don't always have to be the funny one. Like, you make me laugh.
It's true. I am the funniest in this relationship.
Now, take your foot off the gas pedal, because I didn't say you were the funniest. I said you're funny, kind of, a little bit. Mm-hmm. You made me giggle sometimes.
Yeah, okay.
I don't always have to be Johnny on the spot.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay for me not to have a good moment or a good day without feeling the pressure of, you know. So, yeah. Don't get me wrong. Like, everybody wants the faucet and drain analogy, right? Like, we want to be able to pour, and sometimes I'm gonna be a drain, and I want you to pour into me. And there are certain relationships that need to have that equal yoking, but there is another area here where sometimes you're assigned to some people.
Yeah, absolutely.
In those assignment
whether you
roles,
want to be or not.
that part, like, nah, you had a kid, fam. Like, that's your child. Like, it sucks to be you, but that's your child, bro. Like, that's an assignment for you until you get called home.
You know, that used to be one of the things that my dad used to say. Like, she don't never call me. I'm a kid. I'm not supposed to. You supposed to check on me. Make sure I'm good. My well-being is being taken care of. I don't call you. I'm sorry. I'm 8.
Like,
and we don't even have cell phones right now. Like, haven't even been invented. I don't even know where you live. Like, but it's just stuff like that. But you see that all the time.
Yeah, that's
all they do is take their children.
They're the children, and it's a thankless job. Like, your thank you in parenting is not always going to come from their mouth.
It's them doing well in life.
It's the fruit.
Yes.
When you are like tilling the soil, and you breaking up the soil, and you plant seeds, and you working night and day to make the fruit come up out the ground, you're not going to get a thank you. But when you see the fruit, when you see the fruit of your labor, that's the thank you.
Great.
It's like, I worked this ground, I put seeds in the ground, I watered it, I nurtured
it. Became something.
And now I have apples. It's apple pie. Thank God I did it. The tree's out the ground. It's the work that was assigned to your hands. How crazy is a farmer for expecting the corn stalk to be like, I'm out here every day slaving, I don't get it.
It ain't giving me nothing.
What? Fam, work the ground, do what's assigned to your hands and do well at it. Work as unto the Lord, and everything you need to be fulfilled in that role will come from what you get in return. Absolutely. And it's not always going to be a, hey, thank you. I really appreciate you for what you, and sometimes you do get that.
But it could be just somebody living a better life. And to me, you don't never have to say thank you. If something I said to you made you live a better life, good. We're Gucci. You don't owe me nothing.
That part. And I didn't even fully appreciate my parents till I had kids of my own.
Listen.
I said, hey, oh, wow. Hey, you know what?
Did I used to do this? I be going to my mom all the time. Did I ever? Oh, I did. I'm sorry.
Said, nah, you was worse. I want you to know something. I appreciate you. Look.
Because I don't know how you did it.
Man, I think about all the time, like lights are on all the time. And I always go around like cutting lights off. Mm-hmm. And I think about sometimes my dad was like, cut the lights off. You just got the light on all day. And I'm like, why is this such a big deal? But when you start paying the light bill.
You know what it is for me? When they don't eat all their food. I'm not going to eat all my food. I'm full. I don't want no more.
Nah, I still don't mess with that.
I'm going to throw it away. And I could not understand. Like, my stomach literally don't have capacity to eat no more. She be like, you better eat it. I paid $15. I be like, I'm going to be sick. But now, when I see a half-eaten McDonald's or whatever it is, I done slaved.
When you don't want to pay for it?
Like, I done ate and left all this food here on the plate. All this chicken still on the bone. You didn't even eat that.
Oh, there's meat on this bone.
I would not go as far as my grandma did, because she would pull it out the trash and be like, it still got meat on this. But I'd be like,
I ain't pulling it out the trash.
No,
but if
when
they plate on the table,
I'd be like,
there's meat on this bone. You don't know how to eat no chicken.
Or when he be like, it's fat. I'd be like, the fat, the best part. Like, dang, I sound just like my mom.
My dad used to make me eat the pizza crust. I used to get so mad. I don't like the crust. You ain't gonna waste that crust. The crust? I eat the whole pizza. I gotta eat the crust.
$22. You may eat that crust. I choose to throw it away before she saw it, because
I used to get so mad. Like, why? I don't understand this. But when you the person that gotta pay, oh man, that's rich. I'm gonna preach that. Because when you're the person who had to sacrifice for it, like I didn't know when I was eating the pizza that this was the last. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that part. That we eating dinner at 5. And I only could afford one pizza. Mm-hmm. So this meal you're getting right now is the last meal you're going to get. Ain't no snack, ain't no dessert. This got to hold you till tomorrow. So eat the crust. Mm-hmm. Like,
facts. I know I didn't eat.
Fill your belly.
The 4 pieces that I wanted, so you could have 3 pieces.
Man.
So please.
Wow.
Eat the crust.
Hey, can we title this episode?
No. You always be coming up with these obscure titles.
Brandon gets so mad at me when I name the name of the episode.
If y'all ever see anything in all caps, it's Russell. If it don't make sense, it's Russell. I'd be like, you name this Brandy open the door. Nobody's gonna want to read Weakest Creek water. Nobody's gonna open that.
Little Easter eggs. You'd be like, what's that mean?
No.
Eat the crust. What do I got to do with anything? You get to this point, you be like, oh, eat the crust. I get it.
Nah, bro.
I'm here for it. Man, good conversation.
It is. It wasn't even what we came to talk about, but look at God just doing what he does.
Just had his way, didn't he?
But shit, can't get up on shut it.
Say it again.
I can't.
Yes, you can.
Gotta be natural.
Besheke. I'm about to play it again. Besheke. All right now. Someone who got the gift of
Biosha.
Say it again?
Remember Honor when he was in children's? He was like, why do parents always be saying EBBBI show? EBBBIosha. I was like, what they say, Honor?
EBBBIosha. Someone who got the gift of interpreting tongues. I need you to tell me what that one was.
That one's personal between me and God.
Not and the person who can interpret. He said, okay. Hey, writers, tell us what she said, all right? Let us know. I be wanting to know. All right, y'all. We'll be back on Thursday to unpack this a little bit more, go a little further with the conversation, and once again, just see where the conversation takes us. If you have not been to a live, where is you at? Like, what are you doing? Come meet us. Facebook, YouTube, Eastern Standard Time, 8:30 p.m.-ish.
And always, if you want to support the show, you can hit us up on Cash App. We are $ what they never told us. Woo. And support does not always come in the form of money. You can support us by liking, sharing, and commenting on any piece of content that we have on social media. Let us influence you. We got good fruit.
That part. And also, if you'd like to take it a step further, there's a link in the description of this episode for our streaming platform, Buzzsprout. You can subscribe to us for $3 a month. Helps us keep the lights on in this place, okay? And it's a lot of lights in here. So we appreciate y'all. We love y'all.
Cheaper than a coffee from Bigby. Come on, y'all.
Come on now. $3 a month. You spend that on what? What's time you spend more than $3 on? Coffee. You said it. All right, y'all. we about to get up out of here. We love y'all. Pray for our vegan meal tonight. Pray for the vegans out there that their sacrifice will yield dividends, aging backwards, and they deserve it.
Yes, they do.
They deserve it.
That is a great sacrifice.
Every flavorless bite, taking them back in time. And I'm here for it. We love y'all.
And y'all should love too. But that ain't how it go. We should love. Let's try a different sign off this time. Life is like a box of chocolates.
I'm not doing that.
You never know what you're gonna get. I'm gonna say life is like a box of chocolates, and I want you to say
I'm not
you
doing it.
You never know what you're.
I am not doing.
If you do it, we can name this episode. What'd you say?
Eat the crust.
I'm lying. I am not gonna do that.
I was gonna do that same thing. You never know what you're gonna get.
No, I'm not doing it.
Dang it. We love.
And y'all should love too.
All right, y'all. Peace.